I'm here to introduce Mike Segal of 500 Startups, who will be bringing out the winner of this year's Pitchit Lendit competition. Mike?
All right. Thank you very much.
Enjoy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mike Segal. I'm a partner at 500 Startups in our Fintech practice. Not a lot of people know we're a venture capital fund and accelerator based in the Bay Area in San Francisco. Okay. Although we invest globally, we're actually the most active early-stage investor in the world with 1,800 investments so far in 52 countries. We're also the most active fintech investor in the world with over 200 portfolio companies in about 24 countries, a couple of unicorns in our portfolio like Stripe and Credit Karma, a bunch of others. So I was very pleased when Pitchit approached us and asked us to be part of the program here to help startups from around the world get access to folks like you, to an audience that is often very fragmented in this industry and hard to reach. So we were very pleased to help startups come to the stage here. So what I'd like to do now is announce you to our winner of both the judges selection and the audience selection, which is a phenomenal validation, to Nova. And Nova aggregates credit bureau data from around the world to help lenders lend to prime customers that they otherwise wouldn't reach, immigrants. So thank you very much.
Hi, everyone.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much to the judges and to the audience for voting for us today. We're delighted to be here. I'm Nikki.
And I'm Misha.
And I am looking for a clicker.
Right here.
We are Nova Credit. We're building the world's cross-border credit bureau. So let me start by telling you my story. I'm from the UK originally. And in the UK, I have a credit card, I have an auto loan, and I also have a student loan. When I moved to the US, I applied to a credit card and was rejected. I applied to a mobile phone and was shifted over to prepaid. And when I tried to rent an apartment, I was asked for 10 months deposit. Because despite having a great credit history in the UK, I have no credit file in the US. Now, this isn't just a personal issue. This is a business issue. Lenders are missing out on growth at a time when growth is essential. The US market today has 42 million immigrants. They come from India, China, Brazil, Europe, all around the world. Of these immigrants, 7 million are recent immigrants who have all the traits of super prime borrowers. They live in the big cities, they have tertiary education, and they work at top companies like GE and Google. And yet, despite this profile, they also have documented defaults sub 80 basis points. And yet, despite this profile, no lender is systematically targeting them. They have extensive credit needs, and yet no one is serving them. And so financial institutions have ignored a prime demographic and left over $100 billion of lending on the table. Now, this is an obvious problem. You must be wondering, how can there not be a solution to immigrant lending?
The solution is to finally build a global system for financial identity. A system where people can actually move from country A to country B and move their financial identity along with them. And that's precisely what we're building at Nova. And we call our product the Nova Credit Passport. As easily as you can enter a country with a passport to get a stamp, our technology enables consumers to move their credit report around the world. Let me share a little bit about how it works. So in a traditional credit bureau model, a lender will ping one of the traditional consumer reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion, obviously are the big three here in the US. And through these intermediaries, they will access a suite of domestic data here in the States. But that data is confined to US borders. And so as a result, they have no way of accessing overseas information. And people like my co-founder, Nikki, are not able to access credit because their files don't have a way of making it into the decision engines of large lending institutions. Our system and our solution is one that directly connects lenders to a suite of global credit bureaus. So we're an aggregator. We integrate with the leading bureaus around the world. There are now over 200 bureaus around the world. These bureaus are being created by the World Bank, by the Big Three, by independent, by government, by pseudo-government, to help facilitate financial access and inclusion for their populations, to drive growth. And we have emerged as the Switzerland of credit bureaus to help integrate them all, to allow for information exchange in a clear and transparent and secure and regulatory compliant way. Today, we have integrations in place in India, in Mexico. These are the first of their kind. They've never been built before. And we're launching the UK, Canada, as well as China, and a number of other major economies who send a large number of immigrants here to the US. And finally, this system is fully reciprocal. So the same way in the US, when a consumer defaults on a loan, that the lender has a mechanism to actually go and report that default into the central bureau into the US, we have the ability to transport positive and negative information across country borders. So if an immigrant defaults here in the US, we can report that abroad, and we can also help with collections to the extent that's necessary.
So let's go back to our lender. The immigrant has applied for a loan, has gone through the loan application, and within microseconds, through our API, they receive our product, the Nova Credit Passport. Now, you'll note that this isn't alternative data. It's not social data. It's not proxy data. This is classic credit bureau data: payments, trade lines, and inquiries. We actually have worked hard to standardize this data across countries so that there is consistent lending decisions being made, no matter where this immigrant is from. We've also built an analytics layer on top of this data, so we provide a Nova Credit score so that decisions and understanding of the risk can be immediately enacted. And lending is just the tip of the iceberg. Our business model is that we purchase overseas credit bureau data and make it available to consumer use cases. Today, we're buying data from India and Mexico, and we're selling it post-process to fintech, credit unions, and tenant screening solutions. We're working hard to expand our footprint by adding more and more countries so that we can expand our coverage rate, but also adding a number of additional use cases. You think about telco, about ID verification, and insurance. What's more, in a couple of years, we're going to take Nova global and target the 250 million immigrants around the world.
We're a team of immigrants. We were founded at the graduate program at Stanford Business School, as well as the engineering program. And our backgrounds come from firms you may know in finance, technology, as well as financial inclusion. Firms like Apollo, Goldman Sachs, Bain & Company, Google, Adobe, and many more. And we've raised a meaningful seed round late last year from some investors that you may know who are on this page, as well as some great advisors who have helped us actually deliver on what is a very difficult and global vision, and one that ultimately serves the consumer. It helps people access credit. It helps people land on their feet when they need it most, when they come to a country and they're traditionally disadvantaged and they're going through a period of transition. And during that period, they're locked out. And that's what we're solving. And as part of, maybe I'll leave it with one of our sort of simple principles around what we do, in case you're sort of tired at the end of the conference and have seen too many presentations. People move, credit history doesn't, and we're changing that. And if you'd love to learn a little bit more about how to tap into this super prime and growing segment, please come talk to us. And thank you again for the time.